Hello everybody and welcome back to the Retro Recall. I hope you're doing awesome. Today we have one of the e-waste towers from the Attack of the Dells video that I had done. If you haven't seen that, please go back and check it out. It's a pretty cool video, and I'll also take it at the end of this video just because this is where this tower came from. So this is a Dell Dimension 5150. I'm not going to go over all the stats of this system only because we already kind of did that in the Attack of the Dell video, and quite frankly, some of it's going to change today anyway because of the parts we have here. And what I figured what we would do is restore, do a complete cleanup on the system and restore it the best we can based on the parts we have here on the bench, and and go from there. And one thing I want to call out is thanks to everybody who had specifically commented and talked about this is a BTX case, specifically form factor for this tower, and I didn't know it existed. I mean, I was talking about the cooling in the front here. There's a big hole in the front, and I guess it was a form factor that had a limited run, focused on cooling and ergonomics inside the case and things like that. And, we're going to dig into that today. We're going to open it up. We're going to take a look. We're going to do a full cleaning and all those good things. So let's get right to it. Okay, and before we get started on, adjusting the camera angle and go more of a bird's eye view on the system itself, I want to talk about the, the system. I'm going to do a general overview and as well as the components, what we're talking about today. So this system did not have a hard disk in it, but I do have this Barracuda 7200 RPM Seagate Barracuda, 500 gigabyte hard drive, and it is SATA form factor. And again, I'm running on physical hardware. It's what I do on this channel. You guys know that. I have tons and tons of drives. I do what I can. I mean, this one here is in fantastic shape. It came out of a system with a bad board, but the system wasn't terribly old. So definitely will fit the purpose for today. We have some MX4 Arctic thermal compound. We're going to be using that. And, obviously I need to, at least I think so, take the CPU cooler off, and of course we'll need some thermal grease. So I did order that online because I, again, had run out of what I already had. We have this DVD multi-recorder drive. Nothing fancy, pretty run-of-the-mill. It is a HL data storage. I wanted a DVD burner in here. And then we have our SATA drive just because of compatibility reasons, and the bezel matches. And then we have a couple of SATA wires. We have a Molex to SATA adapter just in case I need that. I forget what's in here, but I pulled it out because I figured it'd be handy in case we needed it. A couple of our ESD brushes just to make sure we can get into all the nooks and crannies of the system and get that cleaned out. And we also have a video card that we're going to do. So it does have built-on video. But I do remember from going back and looking at the video, the Attack of the Dells, I do remember it coming with PCI 16X, PCI 16X interface. So the video card we have is a gigabyte, and it is a GV-NX76G512P-RH. Now, my understanding is that this is a GeForce 7600 GS with 512 megabytes of RAM. And of course, it supports SLI as well. And, it has what they had called the silent pipe cooler system, where, you can see the heat comes off here from the heatsink, goes out through the pipe and continues to dissipate. And, this specific card, according to Gigabyte's website, it was focused on overclocking for gamers, silent overclocking for gamers, not having to worry about, overheating of the cards. I don't know how well that worked. But again, you can see the heft of the design of the heatsink that's on this thing, and it's quite heavy. And then on the exterior here, or the front panel, or I should say the back panel, but where you're going to interface with, is the VGA connector here. We have a DVI, and it looks like an S-Video, I believe. I'll just pull that out. Yeah, S-Video. Actually, it's written right there. I didn't need to take that out. But cool that it has that little protector, though, I tell you. Just kind of sitting in there. I don't think that was ever used. And the card itself looks to be in fantastic shape as well. I don't know how I got this card. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it was in a pile of the parts that we had in the parts bin, or it was donated or what. But, I was just looking for a PCI E16 card, and this was the first one I pulled out. And when I researched it, I figured this would be good for this build. For the memory, I forget exactly what's installed in terms of memory, but I mean, there's nothing stopping me from upgrading that as well. I don't have any out right now, because I don't remember the form factor. So we will definitely tackle that together. Okay, I'm just going to put that on here, slide this over, and Windows XP Home, just because it does have a Windows XP Home sticker on the top and a license key and all that. So I'm going to utilize that license just because that was what was on the system. What we're going to do now is just kind of review the back I/O here, just kind of re-familiarize ourselves with it. So we have our PSU sitting up here, our power supply unit, pretty straightforward. And one thing I had commented on was just so much cooling in this computer. And this is, of course, before I knew, what BTX really was. I heard of it, but I never really ever focused on it, never had the need to. So it has the 5 ports for the audio here. And then we have the VGA, of course, built on. We have 5 USB ports. Again, I don't know if it's USB 1 and USB 2 kind of broken out. I believe that's what it was. And then built on Ethernet as well. And then none of the expansions have been touched there. So at least not in our minds here now. So I'm just going to open the side up again so we can refamiliarize. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with that word today. With the inside of the computer. Okay, so the inside of the computer, just to remind everybody what we have. So that was the design. My understanding is from all the viewers that, really centrally focused on cooling in the system. And with this massive kind of, ductwork type cooling here, we have this big open area here, which would, you don't see it from the front. So aesthetically, it's nice. And then you have the big fan that's presumably inside here. And then we have this unit here, which again has this big heatsink that's inside here, which I assume is attached to the CPU. That would be my guess. But again, going to just be conscious of that while we take that apart. I mean, it's quite filthy inside. A system of this age obviously would be or could be, and whoever had this doesn't seem to like they cleaned it. So we do have the IDE connection up here where a drive would be. So sure enough, I don't have an IDE DVD drive with a black bezel, but I do have the SATA. So I do have the power adapter, so I'll be able to utilize the Molex that's here. And in terms of the SATA connection, I should be able to use, yeah, that's okay. So I see 2 SATA connections up here to the motherboard. So I should be able to utilize that. So, okay, so we have the Dell motherboard that's in here as well, the form factor for the BTX. We have the memory. I'm not touching the memory. I'm going to turn that on in a minute and when we get it all cleaned up and see where we are. Okay, let's get everything kind of situated now that we know what we're doing. I just really wanted to go over the system, go over what we have in terms of parts and what our gameplay is here, because I want everybody to kind of, it's going to be a slightly longer video just because of all the work that we have to do, but let's get this system all ready to go in terms of getting everything kind of taken apart. Okay, and here we are all set up back on the bench, a little more of a comfortable view in terms of trying to get this all kind of removed out. Yeah, lots of cleaning to do. This computer has definitely seen some dust bunnies that moved in and really look at even the cables and stuff. So it'll be really good to see if this will come out through the cleaning process. And the thing is with the systems like this, and especially if they're stored in any sort of not humidity controlled areas, that this dirt and grime and dust just turns into like muck, kind of like clumpy muck. And I definitely want to get that kind of cleaned up as well. Okay, I think the best plan of attack, and so many different things I can do here. I don't know how far I want to go. I just want to get a kind of a good idea to get in and around all the different areas, just do a clean out. I'm not taking the board out. I don't know how much of the wiring, like this is all nice and secure in here, so I might just dust it all off and kind of get it all cleaned up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I see 2 screws here for the housing, in quotes, that I have here that I can only assume is for the processor. So I'm just removing these 2 screws. Okay, so that's kind of out. It's still grabbing though. That seems to be good. All right. Okay, well, is that as easy as that? Oh, look at the dirt in there. Okay, so okay, all right, that's an interesting design. Let's see, does it come out? Oh, okay, it does. Yeah, that is certainly an interesting design, I will tell you. So first off, cool that it's cool. It keeps things cool, but you can see the cooler is definitely kicked on. But how it works is you put your thermal paste, which is everywhere, but you put your thermal paste on the CPU. You hook this in. Just it looks like little levers or latches here on this kind of plastic system here. This little rail system. You pop it in, and it kind of closes down, and those 2 screws screw down through the motherboard, down into some standoffs that are there that receive screws. Yeah, what a different design. Either you really love it or you really hate it. I don't know, because I mean, quite frankly, I'd like to be able to control that, but the way it's designed, I mean, this is built into the screws, and it's quite. I don't know if it's designed to be flexible. I imagine it is. You know how it turns back and forth here. Let me just see here. I don't want to. Yeah, no, the screws are tight, so I don't know. All right, I'm going to pull that out just to have that aside. And then we have our beast of a fan here. That looks like just a cowling that's on here. And let's see what we have. Let's see if we can. I may end up just cleaning up inside here at a different angle and get that kind of sorted out, because, I mean, where this is so proprietary, or this format, I just don't want to do any damage to any of the plastic. I mean, where it's, not that it's extremely brittle, I just don't want to go down that path. The more you move it, like I just push down on this and it released something so that I can get the bottom piece out. So, I mean, theoretically I could do all that, but I'm confident I'll be able to get that cleaned without having to remove it. Now, the memory, a sigh you're hearing is because every time I touch memory, it never works again. We have 512 megabytes of PC2, so DDR2 memory, and it looks like we have a gig maybe, or is it 1.5? So we have 512, and we have 1 gig. So we have 1.5 gig. I mean, that's not terrible. You know, do we want to put more in there? We'll see as we're putting it back together. I haven't made my mind up yet about that. I think 1.5 gig is fine for Windows XP. Okay, yeah, we're in a good shape now. So I'm going to just get cleaning now. That's what we're going to try to do. You know, I want to get the kind of the interior of this fan all cleaned out, and some of this, you know, get all this kind of stuff cleaned out, and, you know, we'll be right back after we get all this kind of, fast forward through this process. Okay, so we have the majority of the system cleaned inside now, and I've already removed the thermal grease gunk from the processor. I'm just going to try to take it off the heatsink, in quotes. I mean, it's extremely dry, so I mean, it's not too difficult to come off. The interior of the system is looking great. Everything's been wiped down and looks way better than it did. Definitely no worries about any sort of dust causing any thermal issues for heat dissipation or static. Let's continue on cleaning. There. Okay. So we have what I feel like is the main CPU kind of assembly kind of cleaned up there. And we have the wires all nice and cleaned up and wiped down, and everything's looking, well, as it should again. So I think the next step then is to put the processor assembly back all together and get that back in there. And for that, we're going to be using our thermal grease, our Arctic MX4, which I've heard is quite good. Okay, so I applied the thermal grease there, and I did that off camera for no other reason other than I forgot to turn the camera back on. I just had to get the package ready to use. Okay, I'm going to put the assembly back on the quote-unquote hinges here, and I believe it just kind of sits on like that. Yeah, okay, it's on there. And I believe through this process, it just applies the thermal grease like I would, yeah, just like that. That's definitely interesting. I've never had to use this type of system before, so definitely interesting. Okay, now I'm going to get my screwdriver, and we'll put this in here. That's in, no problem. We'll put the second one in. Okay, that looks so much cleaner now. So much better. I'll put the RAM back in. The 1 gig was sitting up here. And put that in. I believe it was in the first channel there. And we'll do the same thing with the 512. Pop that in there as well. I mean, they're just going in there nice and easily, so that's not too bad. Okay, so we have that installed, the RAM installed, the CPU installed, or the cooler, I should say, installed, and I never removed the fan from there, so that's good news. Okay, let's get the hard drive installed now, just because it's there. And yeah, I like this toolless design. It seems that it just kind of pops in here, so yeah, I didn't wipe it down though. Go me. There we go. Just get the spiders that were living in there, get them, they're no longer welcome. And, you know, the nice thing about the toolless designs, they just kind of snap in. And, you know, that's it. I just kind of go in the holes where the screws would go, like that. And there you go. It holds the hard drive. You know, mixed opinions, of course. I'm old school. We'll just screw everything in, but maybe that's not necessary. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here now. And we have our power connected. And I'm using the secondary one there in case I want to put another hard drive in. So, you know, we have that extra one that's there just in case we need it. Okay, we have that now. And the next thing is to get that data cable connected. I have a slightly longer one over here for this reason. I'm going to do my best to kind of route it, but it's not as long as I'd love it to be. Yeah, see, there's no way I'm going to reach that with the cable that I have. And I know everyone's saying, well, get another cable. I don't have another cable at the moment. So that's where it needs to be. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. I just kind of route it that way. Ideally, I'm not going to leave it like this, everybody. Just so everyone has a peace of mind. I don't like the big angle on the connector here. You know, actually, I'll just do this. Just have the kind of like a little channel there. That might take some of the tension off of that curve. There we go. Yeah, okay. That might do a little better. And again, I don't remember how this would have been because I never saw it, but ideally it would go up inside here, and through the, you know, these little clips here for the SATA. I don't have that. So anybody commenting on that, I know I will get a much longer SATA cable to in there. But for now, for what we're doing and what we're connecting, there's still slack on this, and the curve coming off of this now isn't as tight as when I had it going vertically here, going up. So that's better than it was. What's going on with the CD-ROM drive or DVD-ROM drive? Let's turn this around and look at the front kind of area here. Okay, all right. So I just pushed that down, and the front bezel came off. Is it just going to come off easily, though? Yeah, I'm going to take it off. I don't want to look at it. I'll just put it on the inside of the system. That way we have the original sticker. And it's pretty dried up anyway. Like this, it doesn't seem to be coming off too badly. There, yeah, okay. I'm just going to tape that on the inside of the computer. And then that way we have it. And, you know, if anyone needs support, you can call Dell by picking up the power supply unit and calling it that way. And I'll just get something to clean that off when we go to do the outside of the case. But anyway, you have to take that off apparently. Let's grab the DVD burner. I'll pop it in to the front here, and I'm going to line it up with the hole, I guess, because it does require a screw by the looks of things. You can see it right there. Okay, we have our CD-ROM screw here. I'm just going to screw that in there. Hopefully that head on that doesn't interfere with the design. No, it just adds a layer of snappiness to it. So we have that in there, and we have the CD-ROM drive in there, and I have that little faceplate thing going on here. So how does that go back in now? Okay, I have that in place. I'm not a fan of that design, to be honest with you. I wish it would just be nice and simple. But there's got to be a rhyme or reason for it, of course. Okay, so we have our SATA connections to our drive connected to the motherboard. We have our hard drive kind of SATA connector to the hard drive. I don't love the setup, but it is what it is for now. And we'll get that sorted out. Okay, the video card time. Alright, this computer's getting heavier again. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward, I think. Yeah, there we go. We just pop off the edge there. Just gives you access to everything. Which one is the one we need? It's probably that one. Just going to give a little bit of a look there. Just make sure that we have a little bit cleaner in there. Okay, we have it in there. So we have our CD-ROM or DVD-ROM drive. We have our optical drive. There we go. Problem solved. Hard drive. We cleaned up the whole system. We moved all those dust bunnies out of there. We have our graphics card installed. Yeah, okay. I think the next step now is to, because I have nothing else over in the spare parts area, is get all this cleaned up. There's quite a bit of mess that you guys don't see on camera, so I'm going to get all this cleaned up, get it all situated, and get a monitor, keyboard, mouse, everything kind of situated on the bench. Okay, well, I got some of it cleaned up here. One thing I forgot to do when we were speaking earlier, when we were doing our cleanup, was getting the system kind of cleaned up on the the exterior. I was so focused on the interior that we didn't get the exterior cleaned up. So let's do that together now. Okay, so we are all set up now back. I am going to leave the side panel off because I want to set up the keyboard, mouse, monitor, get everything kind of situated so that we can kind of take a look at what's going on inside in case there's any sort of issues or anything like that. So let's get everything kind of set up now. Hello everybody, and we're back, and yes, there's something on the screen. The way the system is designed, as soon as I plugged in the power to the back of the system, it automatically booted up. Now, before I had done that, and I did this off screen just while I was kind of switching everything around, is I had replaced the CR2032 battery with a like CR2032 battery. So we have our Dell DM051 series, Dell.com, performing automatic IDE configurations. We have our drive 0, which is disk drive, which is the hard drive, I imagine, is detecting. So good that it's in drive 0. That's what we wanted. And drive 1 is a CD-ROM device, which is, we have power to that, and yeah, it opens up no problem. It's good because I had not tested that drive either. And the video card is clearly working, at least to this stage, because we are plugged into that. We're not plugged into the onboard. So that's a good sign as well that the GeForce 7600 GS video card from Gigabyte is working fine. Floppy disk had seek failure. We don't have a floppy drive installed, so that's probably why it's not able to see it. I'll go in and turn that off. Time of day not present. Please run setup program. Obviously, we swapped the CPU, the coin cell battery out, but we'll do that. Invalid configuration information. Please run setup. Yes, Dell, we know that. Alert, previous fan failure. Yes, fine. It's working fine now. I can feel everything kind of running in there, so no worries there. And system battery voltage is low. Well, I mean, we just swapped out the battery, so that should be fine now. And strike the F1 key to continue, or F2 for the key setup utility. We'll go on the setup utility. Okay, beautiful Dell setup stuff. All right, so we have our information for system. We have our processor. So there's our Pentium D, 2.66 gigahertz, processor speed, and all those good things that are there. Memory, it's showing the 1.5 gig. I don't know. I'm still debating putting in more memory into this. I can't remember right offhand, what Windows XP supports, but maybe it's 3 gig. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just because, anyway, whatever. I may upgrade that because, you know, when I see spare ports like that, I like to put more in there. So let's go down to date and time. So it is not Friday, March 2006. Let's go to, I don't even know what year it is anymore. Let's go boot sequence. So onboard or USB floppy drive not present. SATA hard drive's fine. We're going to change that. Let's go so we're putting in the onboard USB CD-ROM drive, USB or USB. That's the order I want it to be in, and then SATA drive, and then IDE hard drive is not present, and USB device is not present, so that's fine. Drives. So we have diskette drive. We're turning that off. SATA drive is on. SATA 2 is on, and we have our PATA, so our IDE drives turned off. There we go. Okay, security, we don't have to worry about that. Power management, same thing. Maintenance and post behavior, fast boot is on. I am going to turn it to off because I want to see the things that come up. Numlock key is on, that's fine. Okay, we're going to escape to exit setup, and we're going to save and exit. And I'm going to, before I hit save and exit, I'm going to put my Windows XP CD in the drive because we're going to install that next. Okay, so before I save and exit, I'm going to look at this beautiful case from Windows XP. Does it give back memories for anybody? It does for me. This is actually my own home copy that I bought in 2002 when I was a young pup. And I bought this because I really wanted to have an original copy of Windows XP. But yeah, no, I had purchased it because again, like I had mentioned, I definitely wanted my original copy. I had original copies in 95, 98, Millennium. I know. Don't be screaming. But yeah, so I definitely wanted it. So, I mean, we're not going to do an unboxing of Windows XP Home Edition. You know, if I want to do an install of that someday and go through all this, I will. But just, I wanted to share the beauty that is Windows XP and the marketing materials that are in this now. And, you know, today you get Windows 11, it's boring. It literally comes on a USB stick if you want it, or hey, just upgrade your system by pushing a button. All the changes we made, we changed our date and time. We told it there's no floppy drive computer, don't worry about it. We turned off some stuff here. We also told the hard drive to be, you know, in performance mode, so I don't care how loud it is as a result of that. Yeah, I think we're in good shape, so let's go ahead and click on Save and Exit. Okay, press any key to boot from CD, so we're doing that now. Windows setup. Good old Windows experience. Windows XP. We're going to just kind of, you know, do a jump cut to the Windows XP setup screen. Hi, everybody. So, there was a minor setback. I was in the process of trying to get just the system ready to go. You saw that it was doing its typical Windows stuff of copying files over for the GUI. And this was using my Windows XP home disk. And for whatever reason, every time I get to the screen where you press enter to install Windows, F3 to quit, and it just froze. Everything froze. So I thought it was a heating problem. It wasn't. I thought it was a USB problem. It wasn't. I thought it was a RAM memory issue, and it wasn't. So I swapped out a bunch of memory, and it all did not work. So then I popped in the Windows XP Professional Service Pack 3. I was thinking maybe there's a driver problem that's causing it, because it kept on hanging on the exact same moment every single time, which was starting Windows, and it would pop up at that screen. So it was obviously loading some sort of driver at that point. And so I figure maybe the Service Pack 3 would make a difference, and sure enough, it did. It gave me the option to continue on. It didn't freeze. So I stopped doing what I was doing there for a moment, popped the RAM back in. So I have, I believe it's 2.5 gig now that's installed in here, I believe. We're going to see in a moment. And we're going to move forward to the Windows XP Professional setup screen. So I'm going to get us to that point now. And here we are at the welcome screen, all set up. Hope you're loving these kind of fast-forwarded jump cuts that kind of show you what's going on as we go through this, instead of me just cutting the footage. I thought it'd be cool to do that. But yeah, I mean, we're here. We have the desktop, and I'm not sure what hardware we have installed by default versus what I have to go hunt down. Now, I mean, everything should be fairly straightforward because Dell is extremely good at ensuring that the service tag number, all the drivers are available online. And the gigabyte site for that video card that we installed should also be pretty darn easy to get. Okay, so we have our Windows XP Service Pack 3 installed. So Windows XP Professionals version 2002 Service Pack 3. And we have our computer, so Intel Pentium D CPU, 2.66 gigahertz, 2.5 gigs of RAM, as I mentioned earlier. I was able to go in and swap out some of that RAM and get all that kind of fixed up. So let's go into Device Manager and see what kind of damage we have to deal with here. So our computer is fine. Disk drives, that's our 500 gigabyte Seagate hard drive, so great. Our DVD drive is wonderful as well, and nothing here we need to worry about. So we have our audio needs correction, our Ethernet controller needs correction, SM bus controller. I mean, that would have been that will be part of the driver stuff that I get from Dell, and our video controller. So obviously it doesn't detect it, and our CPU is there as well, and it did install some sound stuff that it needs by default, so just pretty generic stuff probably, and then we have our USB stuff here. So let me go and get the drivers from the Dell website, and we can get those set up, and then I'll also go to the Gigabyte site to get the drivers for the video card. Okay, and we're back, and I was able to go online and get all the drivers needed for this beautiful installation. So first thing I'm going to do is get the drivers for the video card set up, just because we have it, and yeah, we'll get this, kind of get the graphics all set up properly, and the refresh rates and all those good things. So get that all where it needs to be. Sometimes it's easy to forget these things, but the system, you know, was specifically an e-waste. This was tossed, no hard drive. The RAM was in there, but you know, no floppy drive, which is fine, but no optical drive. And the person just tossed it away. Probably just bought a brand new computer, didn't need this anymore. Most of the e-waste systems so far that we have explored together, we're working on getting them restored. So welcome to the installation wizard for NVIDIA drivers. What next on that? Yes, so I'm pretty confident that I was able to get the right drivers for this video card. Again, this is you're witnessing this live, so hoping that it detects the card and it's the right one. The graphics definitely look better now. And with the NVIDIA symbol down below, I just love video cards that give you this option that you can go in and change these things. Now, I'm not entirely familiar with this card, to be honest with everybody. So please let me know in the comments what you think about the NVIDIA GeForce 7600 GS with 512 megs of RAM, because that is the video card that we have now installed on this computer. Now, that said, we have more drivers to install, and yeah, let's go under hardware again and make sure that our device driver is showing no problem for our display, and it is, of course. I mean, just it's good to see it in there. Audio, let's see if we can get that installed. So it was funny because it wasn't very specific on the Dell website what audio it was. It said that it came with 3 specific cards for this model, even when I entered the service tag number. My feeling, though, is Sigmatel sound. And let's see if this is what it detects it as. So it's looking for the software, I believe, or the hardware. Okay, it says complete. I don't have any audio down below just yet. I might just need a restart. I'll do that here in a moment. Okay, well, I have to get the network set up. We'll get the chipset set up. I believe this is the right driver for that as well. DSM bus controller. Oh, we have sound now. It's good news. I don't have to see the sound audio controller yet down below, but that's fine. We'll take a look at that in just a second here. So we'll go ahead and restart the computer anyway, because that's probably the best practice. Yeah. Lovely Windows XP startup sound. Never gets old at all. Okay, so yeah, we have the drivers installed on the system, except for the network card. Yeah, I'll get that done after. It's not a big deal. We're not going on the internet anyway. But yeah, so I think we're good now. We have all this set up. I think it's time to maybe test out a game and just to see if see how this system works.
We're building the bridge. Here comes the MCP. Prepare to drive it to the outpost and deploy it. I'm a medic. Feel it? Medic over. Our MCP has left the tunnel. Why, thank you. You're welcome.
Play.
Well, I think that's it. Well, I'm going to be told that's it in a second. There we go. All right. Yeah. Success. We have another beautiful system, the Dell Dimension 5150 Pentium D machine that we have completely restored and brought back to life. This is the system that we had as part of the attack of the Dells. We took the system, added more memory, added a hard drive, cleaned everything up inside, added a dedicated graphics card, the NVIDIA GeForce 7600 GS. It just works swimmingly on this computer. Absolutely no issues. Loving the experience. Love the look of this particular tower. And yeah, just built very well. And I'm so happy we were able to save this machine and keep it going. So another one stays out of the landfill. That said, everybody, if you like today's video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, make sure it's to all so you get notified when I make new content. And leave a comment down below if you like this sort of content. You have any comments on the system. I try to reply to all my comments and all my viewers. And to my viewers, thank you so much for being a part of this channel, helping this channel grow. I enjoy doing this for everybody, and I'll keep on doing it as long as I can. Stay tuned for more content. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.